Thanks for tuning in to today's tutorial. We're talking about chord inversions. What is a chord inversion? Well, it is taking a chord, let's say C major, for example. That's one of our most common chords. And there's usually three members in a typical chord. So if you look at the piano here, we're saying C, E, and G. So the name of the chord is played at the bottom here. That's called the root of the chord when the name is on the bottom. That's our root position chord. So if we want to create a chord inversion, I want to be very clear, those three members, C, E, and G, are not going to change. They have to be involved in every chord inversion. So a C major inversion is not going to suddenly end up with an F or a B. It still has to be C, E, and G in some form or fashion. You can kind of think of it as a first, middle, and last name. If somebody calls me by my last name, it still gets my attention. It's still me. A lot of times in the military, they refer to each other by their last name instead of their first name. So whichever version of your name, if you say first, middle, last name, or last name first, then middle name, then first name, whoa, but it's still you. You can still recognize that those names all belong to you. So it's sort of that same way with the chord. It has the three members. Whatever order you put the members in, it's still recognizable as the C chord in this case. So if we take it to the keys, that root position I showed you just a moment ago, if I want to create first inversion, what I'm going to do is take that first note, C, the root, and I'm going to play it an octave higher. That means now the E is the first note, then the G, and now we put the C on the top. So the notes are all present, C, E, G. The members are all there, but we've placed it so that the E is on the bottom. So that means this is first inversion. The third of the original chord, that middle note, is now the bottom. So you've probably guessed what second inversion is by now. Taking the E, and we're going to flip it up an octave as well. That leaves G as the bottom note of this chord, G, C, E. That is second inversion. So root position, first inversion, second inversion. All right, so that's in a nutshell how you create that. So basically each member of the chord, the root, the first, the third of the chord, and the fifth of the chord, each get a turn, and being on the bottom, being the lowest note of the chord. And that is the simplest way to explain the chord inversions. So the other point that we want to bring out is how to play these chord inversions. So there's one finger that shifts as you go through the inversion. So it's not as complicated as it may seem, but I want to take you to the keys so you can have a chance to see what I'm talking about. So I showed you the root position chord was 1, 3, and 5. So most often for the left hand and the right hand, we're going to use the thumbs, the thirds, and the fifth fingers. But there's going to be an occasion where we shift on that. So let's see what that looks like. Root position C major, back into the right hand. When you go to first inversion, we're going to play that 1, 2, 5. So noticing I'm not using the third finger here. Second inversion, we go back to 1, 3, 5, and then there's the top root position an octave higher. You can walk it down. Second inversion, 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5. Left hand will get you into the ball game here. So an octave lower, 5, 3, 1. First inversion, 5, 3, 1. Second inversion, this is where that second finger comes into play. And then back home. So there's only one time that we use that second finger for each hand. Only once. Every other time is going to be 5, 3, and 1, or 1, 3, and 5. So I'm going to put these hands together slowly. Don't worry if you're panicking. We're going to go slowly. And I'm going to call it out. So if I say together, that means both hands are playing the third finger. If I say left, that means the left hand is playing the second finger. If I say right, the right hand is playing the second finger. Okay, so this is how it works out at the keyboard. So hands together, C major, together, right, left, together, left, right, together. This works on all the chords as well, so you could go to, say, G major. Here it is, the G major chord, together, right hand 2, left hand, second finger, together, left hand 2, right hand 2, and together. This works on the black keys as well, say C sharp or D flat major. Together, right, left, together, left, right, together. Excuse me. You can do black key minors, black key majors. I did. So there's a B flat minor. Same pattern for all the chords when we're doing, sorry, talking and playing doesn't always work so well. If you do, let's say, how about F minor on the white key? Still that same pattern. So once you learn the basic pattern, you can play it for the major or the minor keys. You can play it for sharp keys, for flat chords. Any of those work. It's that same pattern. So I hope that this will help you as you work on your chord inversions. Best of luck to you, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to give this video a like if you found it helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful time at the piano.